Over the last 6 months, I have posted over 100 jokes to YouTube. And recently I asked people if they'd be interested in knowing which were the most popular according to views. The answer was an outstanding yes. So in this video, I'm going to go from the first ranked joke right through to the 10th ranked joke. I'll go straight through them. On the right hand side, you will see their ranking and also the number of views they received. After the video, let me know in the comments below which one you thought was best. Anyway, get your laughing gear ready. Let's go.
A man went out into the Australian bush on a fishing trip and he caught a platypus and he decided to eat it. But that evening a ranger came along. He saw the remains of the platypus, grabbed the man by the collar and took him in. Soon the man was standing before a judge and the judge said to him, "How do you plead?" The man said, "I have to plead guilty, sir, but I'm so full of remorse and I want to give $10,000 to the Save Australian Wildlife Fund." The judge said, "I can see you're very remorseful, and so I'll let you off this time, but can you please approach the bench?" As the man approached the bench, the judge leant forward and whispered to him, "What did a platypus taste like?" The man thought for a moment and said, "Well, it was kind of a cross between a koala bear and a fairy penguin." An Englishman, a Frenchman and an Australian were brought to the guillotine. "How do you want to die?" they said, looking down in the basket or looking up at the blade. All three of them said, "We're not scared of death. We'll look at the blade." So they put the Englishman down first, but when they pulled the release rope, the blade did not move. "It's an act of God," they said, and he was released. Second, they put the Frenchman down. Again, they pulled the release rope, but the blade did not fall. "Another act of God," they said, and he was released. Finally, they put the Australian down. They pulled the release rope, and again the blade did not move. But before they could say anything, the Australian yelled out, "I think I can see what's wrong."
An Australian cabbie picked up an American from Sydney Airport. And as he was taking him to his hotel, the American looked out his window and saw Sydney Tower. He said, "Impressive building. How long did it take them to build that?" The Australian said, "I think 11 years. "Ha," he said, "I'm from a construction company. We could have done that in the States in 6 months. A little bit later on, they were going over the Harbour Bridge. Impressive bridge," he said. "How long did it take them to build that?" "I think 8 years, said the Australian cabbie. "Ha," he said, "in the States, we could have built this in 6 months. A little bit later on, the American saw the Sydney Opera House. An impressive building," he said. "How long did it take them to build that?" The Australian cabbie gave a quick glance and said, "Crikeys, that wasn't there yesterday."
A blonde goes to the Kakadu National Park. She goes into the gift shop because she wants to buy some crocodile shoes. But she doesn't like the price. She says to the shop owner, "These prices are too high. I'm going to go and get my own." "Well, you do that, love," he says. Anyway, when the shop owner is driving home that evening, he looks and he sees the blonde up to her waist in water with a shotgun. A large crocodile is coming to her, but she shoots it between the eyes. Then she grabs it and she drags it up onto the beach, where she puts it with the corpses of another 10 crocodiles. And then she swears, "Darn, 11 crocodiles, and I haven't found one yet with shoes." A Catholic priest, a Protestant minister and a Jewish rabbi were arguing about who was best at converting people to their faith. They decided to set themselves a challenge. Each one would go into the forest and take movie evidence of them converting a grizzly bear. The Catholic priest came back and he showed a movie of a grizzly bear eating bread. See, he said, he's partaking in the Lord's Supper. The Protestant minister showed a movie of a grizzly bear in a stream of water. See, he said, only a few minutes with him and already he's wanting to baptize himself. Then they turned to the rabbi. The rabbi was covered in scars and bruises. "What happened to you?" they said. "Well," he said, "have you ever tried to circumcise a grizzly bear?" My wife and I have been married for 40 years, and I think that we have discovered the secret to marriage bliss. Twice a week we go out for a romantic dinner. She goes Monday nights and I go Friday nights.
Two mates are walking down the road with their dogs. One's got a Chihuahua and the other one's got a Labrador. They walk past a pub and one says to the other, "Gee, I wouldn't mind a drink, but look, they've got a sign, no dogs allowed." "That's okay," says the mate with the Labrador. "Watch me." He puts on some dark glasses and he walks into the bar and he says to the barman, "I'll have a beer." But the barman looks at him. He says, "You can't come in here. There's no dogs allowed." He says, "Oh, well, that's all right. That's my seeing eye dog." "Oh, okay then, mate," he says. "Hey, have a drink on us." The guy with the Chihuahua watches this outside, so he decides to do the same thing. He puts on dark glasses and he walks in. The barman says, "You can't come in here with a dog." He says, "That's okay. It's my seeing eye dog." He says, "Seeing eye dog? My foot. That's a Chihuahua." The man goes, "What? They've given me a Chihuahua?"
When I was a young schoolboy, my mates and I decided we'd play a few pranks. So we went to the local fish and chip shop and we called out to the owner, "Have you got any chips left?" "Yes," he said. "Well, you shouldn't have cooked so many." And with that we laughed and ran out of the shop. We then went to the chicken shop and we called out to the owner, "Excuse me, have you got any tender breasts?" "Of course I have," he said. "Well," we said, "try rubbing some lanolin on them." And with that we laughed and ran out. The only problem with those pranks, it was a long time before we had fish and chips and chicken breasts again. Did you hear about the blonde who got very upset with her husband? So as revenge, she decided she'd blow up his car. Unfortunately, she burnt her lips on the exhaust pipe. A policeman went out one night and he arrested two people. One for stealing and eating batteries, and the second one for stealing and eating fireworks. He charged one and he let the other one off. Well, there you go. My 10 most viewed jokes on YouTube. How many laughs did I get? How many groans did I get? Tell me your favourite in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. God bless.